Shall we start? Those who are waiting in the lobby, you tell them to disconnect the call and again enter. Automatically they will be entering.
Okay, sir, I think we're in.
Yeah. Shall we start the class? Already around 160 people are there. Is my PPT visible to all of you?
Yes, sir, we can see the
Yes,
PPT.
Shall we start the class?
yes, sir.
Okay, we'll start the class. And before starting the class, one small announcement is there. So during the time of your assignment, you have to go to your respective classes. We have formed another MS team to take your assignments and semester exams and all. So I think I have made 5th A and 5th B. 5th C and 5th D has been made by Vasant sir. So like during the assignment time, you have to go to your respective classes team and assignment will be automatically posted there and you have to submit your assignment there itself, not here. You have to exit the meeting from here and you have to give it at your respective class teams. Is it fine? I think all the students of 5th A and 5th B are added by me. Please respond. CRs, I have informed already the CRs 2 to 3 days back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll start today's class. So today yesterday we have seen about the basic fundamentals
Excuse
of
me, sir.
antenna. Yes.
Sir, can you please start the recording, sir?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, yesterday we have seen about the basic fundamentals of antenna, where we have studied about what is antenna, how basically antenna operates. Then we studied about different types of antennas like aperture antennas, wired antennas, array antennas, microstrip antennas. Then we have studied about mechanism, fundamental radiation mechanism equations. So we have seen there that without what you call time varying current and acceleration and deceleration of charge, radiation cannot be produced. Then we have studied about different orientation and the different configuration of a wire in which it produces radiation, like bent, curved, then discontinuity, termination, flaring. All these thing produces radiation. Then we have seen 3 different conditions for the radiations. So in today's class, we will be studying about two-wire antennas. Yesterday, I told you the fundamental equations which we have derived for single wire is applicable for two-wire transmission line. And this two-wire transmission line phenomena, you have to study in detail how this radiation mechanism in two-wire transmission line is produced, and the electric field lines, how it gets detached from the antenna. All these things we will be discussing in today's class. So let us begin with antenna two-wire transmission line and its electric field of lines. So as you can see that here we have a typical arrangement of source, transmission line and an antenna with correspondingly electric field of lines. So this particular point is nothing but is your source which is feeding your antenna. So this source transmit VI waves to transmission line. This is your transmission line. From this point to this point is your transmission line, and this transmission line gives the entire supply to your antenna. From this point to this point is nothing but the lines, two where lines are flared. Obviously yesterday we have seen when the lines are flared, when the lines are what you call curved, bent and all, then you have radiation in that. So this part is acting as your antenna. Okay, so we have a typical arrangement of a two-wire transmission line where we can see source is feeding your antenna. The source is connected and this antenna is connected to your source through the medium transmission line. So now we'll see in detail what is this basically. So let us consider a voltage source connected to two conductor transmission line which is connected to your antenna as you are seeing here in figure 1.11a. Now basically those arrows shows the bunch of electric field lines. Okay, now applying a voltage across two conductor transmission line creates an electric field between the conductors. So the movement of charge creates a current that in turn creates a magnetic field intensity. So the electric field lines drawn between the two conductors help to exhibit the direction of charges, how these charges are moving, and the movement of charges cause current, and due to this current we have magnetic field intensity between the conductors. Okay, so now if we assume that the voltage source is sinusoidal, now we assume that the voltage source is sinusoidal in nature, so we expect the electric field between the conductor to also be sinusoidal with a period equal to the applied source, correct? So same thing, whatever you are applying sinusoidal, same thing you are expecting field also between the conductors and transmission lines. So the relative magnitude of the electric field intensity is indicated by this bunching. You can see this bunching corresponding arrow shows their flow movement plus to minus, then suddenly it changes minus to plus. So this is shown by this particular bunch of arrows. Okay, now the creation of time varying electric field and magnetic field between the conductor forms an EM waves. Next slide you see. Okay, bunching of this electric field, magnetic field at this point, once it leaves the antenna, it forms what? Electromagnetic waves which travel through the space. Okay, now you see, again we'll see from here. So the creation of time varying electric and magnetic field between the conductor forms EM wave which travel along the transmission line, as you can see from this figure 1.11b. So the EM wave enters the antenna. Here you can see this part is your antenna and have associated with electric charges and the corresponding currents explicitly described in the figure. So if the antenna part is removed, if we are removing this particular antenna part, then what we have to see, this particular field lines has to be attached with itself. It cannot simply flow by their own. So in order to make it sustained in a closed loop, it takes the form of this particular shape waves and attach and comes out from the antenna. So this is how your electric field lines forms. So basically if the antenna part is removed, free space waves can be formed by connecting the open ends of the electric lines, because electric lines has to be closed. So this give rise to your free space wave. Now if you observe, we have given 3 points, P0, P1, P2. So what happens, this free space are also periodic in nature, but at a constant point, say P0, it moves outwardly with the speed of light, correct? No, now strictly speaking, at this particular point at P0, the speed of your EM waves is greater than the speed of light, but once it travels to this points P1 and P2 consecutively at a distance of lambda by 2, it attains the speed of light. But at this particular point P0, its speed is such that more than the speed of light theoretically. Okay, So thus the detachment of this particular guided wave from the antenna is due to the continuous electrical disturbance from the source. So how this source will be varying continuously, the same electromagnetic wave will be detaching, and totally depends upon how this particular source is. If it is continuously varying, it will be continuously forming its fields, EM waves. No, suppose if you have supplied one time source, then you stopped. So then until and unless this entire effect is over, it goes on continuing. Okay, so this example you can understand. I'll give you a simple example for you to understand. Everybody has been to some river or ponds or ocean. So there what you see. So we see, like, suppose if you are throwing a pebble in the still water, what happens if you are going to some ponds or rivers and the water is still and you throw a pebble into that? What do you see? So once the disturbance in the water has been initiated, water waves are created and begin to travel outwardly. Correct? No. So water waves are created when you are throwing the pebble and it continuously moves outwardly. Now, if the disturbance has been removed, the waves do not stop. Correct? No. If you are not throwing the pebble, it will not stop. It will continue or extinguish themselves at at instance. It cannot stop, but it will persist. So new waves will be created automatically when you are continuously throwing your pebbles into that. So same way here you can refer to the waves. If you have created the disturbance, the waves will be produced until unless all the waves in the transmission line has been moved out. Now, if you are continuously supplying the voltage, this phenomena repeats continuously as you are throwing continuously pebbles in your water. So continuously wave disturbance are created and it moves on with one wave lagging with the other wave. When the new wave, when you are throwing new stones, then that formation of wave which you have thrown earlier the pebble, they lag with each other, but it is continuously moving. If you are continuously throwing the pebble, just that is how the formation of EM waves happen with the source and the transmission line here, what it is shown. Okay, so from this what we can conclude? One important point from here, we can conclude that electric charges are required to excite the field but are not needed to sustain them and may exist in their absence also. In the same manner as you are throwing the pebble, now you suddenly stop. That means wave does not diminish. It goes on until unless that much strength is there. So once it is done, it becomes subsides and it travels a long distance. Same manner here your electromagnetic waves. So one important conclusion which we can draw from here is that electric charges are required just to excite your fields but are not needed to sustain them and may exist in their absence also. Continuously they will move on with one lagging with another wave. That's all. So this you can see here the radiation mechanism of lambda by 2 line, that is dipole antenna you can see. So we can see here a small dipole antenna is in the middle. Here you can see this small dipole antenna is in the middle, and you see once the source has been generated at t equal to 0, see the formations of lines. So for different this is just an illustration of dipole antenna, how it radiates its wave at different time intervals. You can see all dipole antennas. So here you see basic difference is there. The magnitude of current at t equal to 0 at this point, this is lambda by 2. You see what is the current over here. Then similarly you see what is the current over here. T is equal to t by 8 time. This is the formation of current. So here you see t is equal to t by 4, more magnitude of current. T is equal to 3t by 8 more. This practically we will see also in the coming slides. We have to derive this type of pattern. What will happen to lambda by 2 lines if we are supplying if we are seeing the detachment of waves at different time period. This mathematically we have to show also. So this is just an illustration of electric field lines of lambda by 2 dipole, that at different time period what is the consequences or what is the consequences or distribution of electromagnetic waves in the space. So this is for biconical horn antenna. So here you can see, so detachment of waves, you can see this is just an illustration. Now we'll see the formation and detachment of electric field lines for a short dipole. Just I was discussing a few minutes back how this basically happens. So see here. So keeping the above concept what we have studied in the mind, let us explain the mechanism by which the electric line of force are detached from the antenna to form the free space wave. So here I'll first take time period t is equal to t by 4. So here you are applying a sinusoidal wave which I have represented through the red color ink. So here it is a wave where you are seeing it is completely taking one full cycle. So the first half, this particular portion from here to here is the first quarter wave, that is lambda by 4. Then this is second quarter. In the first quarter wave is rising and in the second quarter wave is going down. So corresponding to this, we will draw the field lines for a lambda by 2 length dipole. Why lambda by 2 length dipole? We have taken from here to here and here to here as total distance as lambda by 2. That's why it is a lambda by 2 dipole. Now start same thing we'll assume. Now assuming the sinusoidal time variation. Now you can see here when during this time what you can see here, as you know that in the earlier class I told you your dipole is a center field. Now you see the first quarter of wavelength. So for first quarter of wavelength, how much distance wave travels? So for first quarter of wavelength, suppose say 3 field lines are produced. So that 3 field lines will travel how much distance from here to here? Lambda by 4. So for first quarter from here to here, when the wave is rising, the current is flowing from here to here with 3 field lines of forces, which is total distance of how much? Lambda by 4. And you can see it is satisfying the criteria. Where it is satisfying? It is center field. The current is maximum at the center point and it is less at the axial position or poles. So it is satisfying. So this is the current distribution of your dipole antenna during the first quarter. So for first quarter, we let 3 field lines of forces are produced, which is moving from this side to this side, covering a total length of lambda by 4 in the first quarter of length. Okay. Now case 2 we will see. Now the second quarter you see. This I talked, this particular field lines are shown for first quarter from here to here, first lambda by 4. So this has covered this much distance. Now consider the second quarter. What is happening? So in the next quarter, the original 3 lines travel an additional lambda by 4 distance. Correct? No. You can see these waves 1, 2, 3. Wait 1 minute. These 3 waves 1, 2, 3. These were of original wave, old waves, which you have seen here. These lines, see it was moving from here to here, here to here, here to here for this first quarter. So when the second quarter is coming, this wave is entering from here. So this quarter wave sinusoidal voltage will push this wave. Here you can see. So second quarter wave push this bold color lines you can see from here to here, 3 field of line, because for first quarter I have assumed 3 field lines of forces. This has been pushed away to a more distance of lambda by 4 and the new waves are created in the second quarter of the wave. In this quarter of the wave, second quarter of the wave, new 3 lines of forces are created in the next quarter of wave. So here you can see the next quarter of wave pushes the old quarter of wave. So from here to here you are covering how much distance again? Lambda by 4, because you are taking another lambda by 4 distance of the wave. From here to here how much it is? Lambda by 4. And it was already lambda by 4 earlier. So total distance of the wave is how much? From here to here is lambda by 4 plus lambda by 4, nothing but lambda by 2. And you see all this current are center fed. So what you are seeing? The maximum current is at the center and the mean currents are at poles. The mean currents are at poles. So what you are seeing here? So as you are applying the sinusoidal voltage, the formation of field lines are taking such that it is pushing the earlier generated wave outside, outwardly. Understood? So you are seeing here. So total distance covered by this is what? Lambda by 2. Correct? No. Are you all understanding? No. Are you all understanding or not? Answer, I am waiting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what you have seen in this case, we have seen that the new lines of forces which are produced are also 3, as we have assumed for earlier case, and this 3 line of forces pushes the previously generated waves to a distance, more distance of lambda by 4. So the new generated wave and the old generated wave by which we have applied the signal for lambda by 2 time, it becomes what? Total covers a distance of how much? Lambda by 2, correct? No. So what we can see here, 3 line of forces for present wave and 3 line of forces for earlier wave. Now, since now we stop, we don't give sinusoidal voltage now, we stop giving the voltage now. Okay, so what will happen? So in that case, the net total charge will be what? 0. So now what will happen? So this will move out of your field, this will move out of your field, but it cannot move like this. So what it will do? It will form a closed loop. It will form a closed loop and it will get detached. See this. Now it is not on your line dipole. Now it is not on your antenna. It totally gets detached. Why? Because continuous disturbance from source is removed. So the net charge is nothing but they form a closed loop of lines and now it is coming out from your antenna. So this is how the electric field is detached. Okay, so this is all about the detachment of your field lines from your dipole antenna. Okay, so you can extend this for next half of the cycle also. When you are going towards negative half cycle, same thing repeats in the negative half cycle but with different direction of travel. That's all. Rest everything remains the same. So this is how the detachment of field lines take place from your antenna. This is primarily due to the disturbance from the source. If you are continuously applying the voltage, if you are not removing the what you call voltage, so it will continuously form the waves, as you have seen in this case. It is continuously forming positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. Same thing here, positive, negative, positive, negative. It is continuously continuing its formation of detachment from your antenna at respective time periods. So this is how the detachment of field lines take place from a antenna. So it may be a dipole antenna, it may be a discount antenna, any antenna you take. This is the fundamental phenomena how the electric field lines are getting detached from your antenna. Now next we'll see the current distribution on a thin wire antenna. Now we'll consider how, like in the previous case, we have seen different condition when radiation occurs. Now here we will see for two wire lines. Earlier we have seen derived the fundamental equations for single wire transmission line, and we have told that for radiation to happen, this is the condition. Now the same concept is now extended to two wire transmission line. Okay, so we'll start with first the transmission line, which is continuously straight. So this is a typical example of a two-wire transmission line. Okay, here continuously distance is also given. This is the end point, this is the source, this is the load. Here length is L by 2, that is nothing but from here to here you have a length of lambda by 2. These are standing waves which you are seeing here. Correspondingly, the illustration of total two-wire transmission line is given from source to load. Now this is a simple transmission line. Now we'll see in this two-wire transmission line how radiation occurs. So conceptually, what we have seen yesterday, we'll apply the same concept here. So the movement of charge creates a traveling wave, and this current will be what? Nothing but I naught by 2 along the wires maximum currents. Now when this particular current arrives at the end of each wire, it will undergo a complete reflection, equal magnitude and 180-degree phase shift. Because of not matching, phase reversal it will go. Now suppose if the two wire is balanced, if this two wire shown is balanced and symmetrical line, then what will happen? The current half cycle of one wire of one half cycle of the current is same in magnitude, 180 degree out of phase from that corresponding in the next half cycle. So we assume this is the length, and now we will see. So for this criteria, there will be no radiation as we have seen previously. It is continuously straight. So no discontinuity form, no acceleration in the acceleration of charge carrier. So there will be no radiation. Now suppose, now this length what you have assumed. Now suppose we consider this particular section of a transmission line, this particular section of a transmission line, such that now its length for the case 1, this is I will be discussing case 1 now. Now suppose, yeah, now this particular length which I have shown here is little bit flared at the end. That means I am taking conditions such that this small piece of length, that is Z, is less than lambda by 2 distance. Okay, when this section of length such that Z is greater than 0 but less than L by 2 is flared, that means that much amount of line is flared. We are taking a small portion of transmission line Z such that this Z is greater than 0 but less than L by 2 is flared. Now same portion is flared. Flared means little bit opened at the end. This is called as flaring. So what is the length of this? This length is nothing but less than lambda by 2, less than or equal to lambda by 2. So greater than 0 but less than equal to lambda by or L by 2. This length what we have shown from here in the arrow, same this is flared, same this is flared with this distance such that this length is analogous to less than or equal to L by 2. So this much portion is flared at the end. Now what will happen? Tell, what will happen? What you will see? Answer, anyone? What will happen to the current? The current distribution will be unaltered, but you have flared these sections. So what will happen? You will see some amount of radiation.
Radiation.
Correct? No. Correct? No. There will be some amount of radiation because it is not completely opposite to each other. It is slightly flared. That means the net charges will be there on it. That means ideally some amount of radiation will be there which will cancel this radiation as well as this radiation. So the net current in this particular, ideally, therefore there will be some amount of radiations will be there in your this portion of transmission line. Now suppose you completely flare this particular end at 90 degree. At this completely, this particular portion you have flared at 90 degree. Then what you will have? So because of this flaring, what you will have? You will have standing wave current pattern. That means if length is less than lambda, then the phase of current in both the arm will be same and will be oriented in the same direction, as you can see here. Thus, the field radiated by the two arms of the dipole will primarily reinforce each other towards most direction of observation. This direction of observation. See, you can see the current, how it is forming. Maximum current you will be seeing here, and it will be forcing towards each other. So now if the diameter of wire is very large, then what will happen? This ideal standing wave patterns of the current along the arm of the dipole is sinusoidal with null at the end. If this diameter of the wire is very less than wavelength of the wire, then in that case, what you will be having? You will be having a standing wave pattern of the current along the arms of the dipole with a null at the end. However, its overall form depends on the length of each arm. So for various length, you will be having different current distribution, as I have told you. For like in the previous class, we have told you if the length is less than lambda by 4, what will be the distribution of current pattern? Here it is a what you call lambda by 2 distance you have taken. For lambda by 2 distance, what is the current pattern you are getting? You are getting almost sinusoidal current pattern with maximum at this particular end, because you are flaring it more to the end. So here it tends to form one more maxima, but if you are extending the line, again it will form one more maximum with maximum current at the center point. So if same the line, if this flaring of line is less than lambda by 4, it will form a triangular pattern, lambda by 8 triangular pattern, if lambda by 2 sinusoidal pattern. So all these things we will see in this particular linear dipoles. Now, as I told you, in case of length which is very less than lambda, so what you will get? You will get a current distribution almost triangular in nature. You can see the current distribution is almost triangular in nature. Now for a very small dipole, please note the length is nothing but, for a very small dipole, the length of the wire is typically greater than lambda by 50 but less than lambda by 10. So I'll write here, for a very small dipole, the length is greater than lambda by 50. Length is great lambda by 50, but it is less than or equal to lambda by 10. For this type of antenna, the current is almost triangular in nature. Okay. So this you will study what you call in your chapter 3, I think. Yeah, chapter 3, where you have to approximate sine KL by 2. Sine KL is K is nothing but that electrical phase, that means 2 pi by lambda, that will approximately equal to KL by 2, because that theta, entire theta will be very small. So when KL by 2 is very small, so your distribution of current tends to be triangular in nature. As we have seen yesterday also, we have given for different length the current. Now for case of lambda by 2 length, what we will see, the entire current will be what? Sinusoidal in nature. The current is sinusoidal in nature with center field, and the maximum current you are observing here. Okay, and minimum at your poles, understood? Now when your length is greater than lambda by 2 but it is less than lambda, what you will see, they will start to form a new line, new force. Why? Because tends to disturb the pattern. So more or less it will reinforced at the center with a new cycle. So almost it is trying to break. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Yeah, welcome back. Some call was there from HOD sir. Okay. Are you able to see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see if the length is greater than lambda by 2, the current is trying to make another cycle, but now it is reinforced at the center. Now if I increase this length to a greater extent, what you are seeing, again one more cycle is formed at the center. So as it is going on increasing, you can see the number of cycles which are formed here. So this is how the entire pattern of the current is produced when you are increasing the length as compared to your wavelength. So this you have to remember properly. Now the next portion is very important. Now in this next portion, please answer this, because you have to do. Now we'll you have to tell me the answer, what the current will be. So current variation as a function of time for lambda by 2 dipole. Now from this portion, you can expect full 2 to 3 marks of question in your exam. That is for sure. From here, I am telling now itself, you will get 2 to 3 marks of question. So now you just take out your pen and you just tell me the answer, what answers you will get for this particular portions. Now in this, what we are trying to do, we are seeing the current variation as a function of time. Okay, so we are seeing this variation on a lambda by 2 length. Okay, so let us see what is happening at different times. What will be the distribution of current on a lambda by 2 dipole line. So how you will obtain this variation? So this variation can be obtained by multiplying the current standing wave patterns of the figure of lambda by 2 dipole, which we have seen here, this lambda by 2 dipole current pattern. This is the current pattern or wave pattern, what we have seen here. We have to multiply this wave pattern with cos omega t, and for different time interval, we have to see what will be the distribution of wave pattern. So now the first thing is that what you will get at t equal to 0. Answer me. I am not going to tell you until unless you tell me the answer. Now that means you have a lambda by 2 line. Okay. Now for this lambda by 2 lines, you have to multiply this particular structure. You have to multiply this particular structure with cos omega t at t equal to 0. What type of resultant pattern you will get on this dipole? Tell me.
So same pattern.
The lambda by 2.
Explain it. How?
So cos omega t is 1 at t is equals to 0. So we will get the same pattern.
Yeah, no, correct. So now this entire waveform is multiplied into what? Cos omega t. Okay. Now this t, what we are taking? T is equal to 0. Now once we are taking t equal to 0, what it will happen here? You put here t equal to 0. So entire thing will become what? 0. So cos 0 is what? 1. So what you got here? For t equal to 0, what you got? This is 1. Now what is the maximum strength of this structure? What is the maximum strength of current of this structure? Tell me. Come on, tell me. What is the I naught? I naught is the maximum strength which is represented here, no? I naught is the maximum strength, no? Center field, maximum current is how much? I naught. That means this I naught will get multiplied by what? 1. So how much I naught of current you will get? 1 I naught is nothing but I naught, and the pattern will be what? Same pattern. So this will be the pattern when you have t equal to 0 as a period. So that means same current strength and pattern you will get when you have t equal to 0 as your period. Understood? This will be the pattern of your dipole antenna current at t equal to 0. Understood? Now shall we move to next part?
So why did we multiply cos omega t?
Harmonic, no, we have to multiply, no? Now, for t is equal to t by 8, what will be the pattern? Tell me. Tell me. I'm waiting for your answer. I will not tell.
0.7 times into I naught. Maximum strength. The whole pattern will be multiplied by 0.7.
0.7. That means what is the maximum strength of? Now we are seeing t equal to 0. Now we'll see at t equal to t by 8. T by 8. Then we will see at t is equal to 3t by 8. We'll see t equal to 3t by 8. Then we'll see t is equal to t by 2. Now for t is equal to t by 8, what you will get? Same thing, multiply this particular current distribution by what? Into cos omega t, cos omega t. Now what is t? T is nothing but t by 8. That means omega is what? 2 pi f t. Now you have to put what? T by 8. That means 2 1s are 2, 2 4s are 8. What you will get? Cos pi by 4 you will get, no?
45, sir. 45
Yeah,
degrees.
cos pi by 4 is what? 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2 is nothing but 0.707. That means you will be having total magnitude in the resultant wave of how much? This total current will now change into what? 0.707 I naught. Correct, no? 0.707 I naught. Same thing is represented here. At t is equal to t by 8, what you will get? 0.707 I naught. Okay. Now tell me what will be the distribution of current at t by 4. Tell me what will be the distribution of current at t is equal to t by 4. Here you see t is equal to t by 4. What will be the distribution? Tell me.
0, sir.
0 means you will get anything. Will you get anything?
No, sir.
You will not get anything. You will not get any current distribution. You will not get any current distribution. That means only dipole will be there with no current distribution. How? Again, what we have to do in order to see the distribution at time period t is equal to t by 4. Again, we have to multiply this particular current distribution of dipole with what? Cos omega t. Cos omega t. No, cos omega t. T is what? T by 4. So in place of this t, what we have to put? T by 4. Omega is what? 2 pi f. Correct? No. So 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4. Cos pi by 2. Here you will get what? Pi by 2 you will get. So cos pi by 2 is what? 90 degree. Correct? No. 90 degree means what? Cos 90 is 0. That means this entire current distribution into 0. What you will get? Nothing. No current pattern. So you can see here. No current pattern. No current pattern at t is equal to t by 4. Okay. Now the same current distribution. Now tell me what you will get at t is equal to 3t by 8. At t is equal to 3t by 8, what you will get? Now at t is equal to 3t by 8, what type of pattern you will get? Tell me.
Negative of at t by 8.
Yeah. So again, this pattern you have to multiply by cos omega t. Cos omega t. Now omega is what? 2 pi f. T is nothing but 3t by 8. What you will get?
Minus
What you
0.5.
will
By 4.
Minus
0.7.
minus 0.707 you will get, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that means the whatever current you are getting here, it will be how much? Minus 0.707. If you are getting this as minus, the entire pattern as minus, where the pattern will be formed now? Which side the pattern will be formed? If you are considering this as axis, this is positive axis, this will be your negative axis. The entire strength will go where? It will go this side. So same thing, if you see for 3t by 8, where it is going the current pattern? Negative side it is going, no? 0.707 I naught. Correct, no? Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you find the same pattern of current at t is equal to t by 2. What you will get? What will be the current pattern at t is equal to t by 2? So again, what you have to do? You have to multiply this initial. Now you are seeing what? T is equal to t by 2. T by 2. So now again the same dipole pattern you have to multiply by what? Into cos omega t. Cos omega t. Omega is what? 2 pi f. T is T by 2. What you will get?
-1.
Minus 1. That means where the current will be produced? The current will be produced at this side with maximum strength as what? Just I naught. No need to give minus because you are drawing the pattern at left side. So you can see here. Oh, it is not given. So it is given only. This is T naught. So this is your current at T is equal to T by 2. And this is how you have to calculate your distribution of current for a dipole for different time period. This is just an example for dipole current distribution. Similarly, for your homework, you please find the current distribution at same whatever time period we have considered for half wave, quarter wave monopole or monopole antenna. Triangular current distribution, same type. That is for your homework. You please find it out. Same. T is equal to 0, T is equal to 3T by 8, T by 2, T by 4, all things you find and see what is the current nature. So basically, conceptually, what should be the current nature for monopole antenna? What type of pattern you will get basically for monopole antenna?
So we get a triangular distribution.
Monopole antenna, man. Not triangle. Monopole antenna, it is almost sinusoidal, no? Less than lambda by 4. Short monopole is triangular in nature. Forgot, huh? See here. See here. Short monopole less than lambda by 8, then you will get triangular current nature. If it is monopole antenna, what you are getting? Sinusoidal in nature. Please remember this. So you try for this monopole antenna current distribution dipole already we have done. Then you try for short monopole, try for short dipole and see what you are getting. Okay. That is your homework. So that is all about the first chapter of your antenna. So a brief summary what we have studied throughout this particular chapter 1 of antennas. So we have started with the historical development of antenna. We have seen from Maxwell equation till Constantine-Balanis age how the antenna got developed. Then we have studied about different types of antennas. And as I described, what is antenna? Nothing but a device which is used to convert your VI waves into electromagnetic waves through the process of radiation at the transmitter and back the electromagnetic waves into VI waves through the process of induction at the receiver. So that was basically a typical definition of your antenna. Then we have studied about different types of antenna. In different types of antenna, we have studied wired antenna, as we have seen dipole, folded dipole, then loop antennas, helical antennas, all those things, wired helical antennas. Then we have studied about aperture antennas, which have some area like horn, pyramidal horn, conical horn. We have studied. Then we have studied about reflector antenna, parabolic reflector, where you can see that the horn antenna is acting as a center feed for a reflector to transmit the signal at larger distance. Then we have studied about microstrip antennas, the fundamental antennas which are used in your mobile phones. Then we have seen the array of antennas in order to increase the gain. So in order to increase the gain and to have a power in a particular direction or directional pattern, we have array antenna, which is nothing but a combination of 2 or more antennas. Then we have studied about lens antenna to direct a beam of antenna in a particular direction of line of sight. So these are the various types of antenna we have studied. Then we have studied the radiation mechanism in a single wire antenna, which is extended to double wire. We have just now studied. Then we have seen the different current distribution of a dipole antenna, detachment of current distribution from a dipole antenna for the formation of electromagnetic waves. Then we have seen at different time period what are the pattern of a dipole antenna just by multiplying by cos omega t. So this was all about your antenna introduction in chapter 1. So I'll give you a brief introduction what you are going to study in chapter 2, because it will be taught by Vasant Kumar sir. From there he will be teaching after I complete the syllabus of some portion of 5G antenna. So in my next class I will be discussing about folded different types of wired antennas, like folded dipole antenna. Then I will take an example of some aperture antenna like horn antenna, then Yagi-Uda antenna, log periodic antenna. These are just theoretical and brief description. What are basically they? What are the fundamental governing principle of their operation? What is the design equation for those antennas? What are their advantages? What are their disadvantages? That we will be discussing in our next lectures. Different types of antennas, small antennas we have taken, and we have covered all those antennas. So we will be studying those antennas. Then after that we'll go in little bit detail about microstrip antennas. In that microstrip antenna we will be focusing more on circular antenna and rectangular patch antennas. So we'll see the design of microstrip patch antennas. I will show you by simulations how the current distribution in microstrip patch antenna takes place. All animation videos I have, my design antennas are there. I will show you how the current flows, how the bandwidth is being calculated, how the radiation patterns vary for microstrip antenna for your cell phones and all, what is the requirement. So we'll be seeing the designing of your patch antennas, rectangular and circular patch antenna is a bit detailed, like derivation equations are there. We will not go for derivation, but we will go for analyzing and solving numericals for patch antenna, designing of patch antenna basically. Then after that we'll be going to millimeter and microwave antenna, a brief description and link budget design for microwave millimeter wave antenna. Then we'll go for fractal antennas that constitute my portion for your antennas. So before that glimpse, I'll just give a brief glimpse what you are going to study in your next chapter of antennas. So as we have seen the fundamental behavior of antenna from a single wire to double wire. So in your next chapter, you will be studying the basic parameters which governs the operation of antenna. So those basic parameters are very important to understand the concept of antenna, and throughout your antenna you will be studying that and you will be analyzing that, because without those parameter characterization your antenna is nothing. In practical environment also, when you are making antenna, so those parameters need to be considered for a good antenna. So what are those parameters? You will be studying in chapter 2. So those parameters are nothing but radiation pattern. How is the pattern made by an antenna? What is the power flow from an antenna? In which orientation antenna is distributing its power? What is the pattern flow, like strength of radiated wave are in which pattern, whether it is omnidirectional, whether it is bidirectional, whether it is like unidirectional. All those things you will be studying. Principal plane patterns and all you will be studying here. Then you will be studying about radiation power density. How much dense is the power radiated by your antenna? Then you have equations of power density. You have to derive all those things. Then you have radiation intensity. What is the intensity of the radiated intentions? Then you will study about these are dependent on distance or not. All those things you will study here in detail, because you have for all this you have a detailed equations, derivations here. Then you have to see the beam width of the antenna. What is the opening of the beam of your antenna? What is in your radiation pattern? Suppose you have got some radiation pattern from your antenna, so how much broad it is? All those things comes under beam width. Like what is the total maximum strength or broadening of your antenna pattern from maximum point to 3 dB point. All those things you will be studying there. Then you will study a very important parameter of your antenna, that means directivity. So as I told you yesterday, that isotropic antenna directivity is one, like how much is the capability of a antenna to radiate maximum power in a particular direction. That is nothing but directivity, and your directivity for a practical antenna should be as high as possible. Then you will see numerical techniques. I don't know whether this is there or sir will teach you or not numerical techniques, but it is very important. This has led to the development of antennas, numerical techniques, FEM methods and all. Then you will study about antenna efficiency. What is the total efficiency of the antenna and how efficiency is affected by various parameters, loss resistance and all. How efficiency is affected if the antenna is not if the antenna impedance is not matched with your load impedance or characteristic impedance, the line which is feeding your antenna. What are its disadvantage, and for a practical antenna environment, how much efficiency generally you want. So that all things will be covered in your antenna efficiency. Then you will see gain more or less same what we have discussed about directivity, but this gain is given in terms of power. So we have now beam efficiency, the strength of the radiated beam, how it is and how much efficient it is, that you will be studying in beam efficiency. Then how to characterize the bandwidth of your antenna, how to calculate this, because the bandwidth, whatever you have studied in the traditional way for a normal devices, for your amplifier and all, that bandwidth is entirely different when you take the consideration of antenna. In case of antenna, we just see what are the portion of frequency below minus 10 dB, reflection coefficient I'm talking about, because generally you cannot define any normal bandwidth for your antenna. You have to see the operation of antenna in terms of VSWR, that means voltage standing wave ratio, and reflection coefficient. So generally for bandwidth of antenna, it refers to the spectrum or the portion of frequency which is between VSWR 1 and 2, because in the previous classes when I was taking basics of transmission line, I told you that for practical consideration, VSWR is optimally considered between 1 and 2. So the portion of frequency band lying between 1 and 2 is nothing but the bandwidth of antenna. Same thing, the higher portion minus lower portion covering the VSWR between 1 and 2 is the bandwidth of antenna. Similarly, in terms of reflection coefficient also, if the portion is less than minus 10 dB, then only you will consider is the bandwidth of antenna. Minus 10 dB in terms of reflection coefficient I'm talking about. Then you have to consider polarizations, like what type of polarizations your antenna is having. Then you have to see various types of polarization loss factors. What is polarization loss factor? If the transmitting antenna and receiving antennas are not in the same polarization, then what will happen to the wave, whether the wave will be received properly or not, how much will be the loss, that is polarization loss factor you have to study. So all these are very important parameters. Then input impedance, how to characterize the input impedance of your antenna. Then radiation efficiency of your antenna. Antenna total efficiency and radiation efficiency are two different things which you will see there. So then effective length of your antenna, maximum directivity and a maximum effective area of your antenna. What is the portion which is radiating and contributing to the antenna radiation pattern? That is nothing but AEM is equal to lambda square by 4 pi into directivity. All these relation derivations you have to study. Then you will study the line of sight fundamental equation given by Friis. That means Friis transmission equations you will be studying. That means PR is equal to PTGT GR divided PR is equal to PTGT GR into lambda by 4 pi D into whole square. So this equation fundamentally you will derive there, and this particular equation is generally valid for your line of sight communication. Then you will be seeing what will be the antenna temperature and how this antenna temperature is affected by normal variations in the standard room temperatures, and also all those considered you will take into account. And these basic parameters are very, very important when you are practically modeling any type of antenna, whether it is wired antenna or whether it is microstrip antennas. So all these things are very important which you will be studying in chapter 2. Okay, so this is all about your chapter 2 which you are going to study in your subsequent lectures after I have completed my portions. Okay, hope this was informative for you all, and if you have any doubt, please discuss.
Yes, sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, we say that the current distribution in the dipole antenna is like a sine wave when my source is emitting out a sine wave. Sir, but when we encode information on that sine wave, for example, we have a modulator modulating like frequency modulation or amplitude modulation, wouldn't that affect the overall performance of the antenna? Like I have designed my antenna for lambda by 2 consider.
Yeah, I understood your question. So you are asking like the process of modulation and demodulation, how it affects the antenna, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that what you call, whatever you are doing encoding and all, it once it comes to antenna, it becomes in the form of electromagnetic waves. So antenna has nothing to do how efficient you are modulating and demodulating, and how you are efficiently you are giving to your antenna, that matters. Ultimately, what is coming to antenna, it is nothing but EM waves only. So entire capacity and entire signal depends upon how well you are modulating and demodulating your signal. So if you want to increase the capacity, you don't have to do anything about antenna. Antenna means you have to just increase the number of elements to your antenna, like MIMO antenna. So if you are providing good modulation and demodulation technique, similar way you can increase the number of element of antenna and you can transmit the signal. The fundamental thing is that it's the electromagnetic waves which is reaching to your antenna and will be transmitted by your transmitting antenna, and same electromagnetic waves in the encoded form will be received by your receiving antenna, and again it goes through the reverse process. That's all.
And so in that case, the current distribution will no longer be a sine wave, right?
One, you are encoding, no? So that encoded signal reaches to your antenna. What is there in that? So whatever, see, you are from the source, sine wave will be coming, no? Through transmission line. Then you are doing encoding and decoding, no?
But sir, from source, we are not having only one sine wave. No, we are getting a bandwidth of sine wave. So that will construct positively and will form another shape.
No, you have a sine wave of 220 volt. No, you have a source of 220 volt. No, whatever you are getting in homes and all, same thing you are feeding to your transmission line. No, once it goes through transmission line, then before antenna you are putting your modulator, demodulator, all those things. No, but ultimately from your source, sine wave will be coming. No.
Okay.
Ultimately from your source, sine wave will only be coming, no, whether it is a train of sine waves or pulses of sine wave, it will be sine wave only, no. So after it travels through your device, then you are encoding, decoding, modulating, demodulating, anything what you are doing when it comes to your modulator. But the fundamental thing of all the communication systems or all the things is the source volt, 220 volt or 230 volt, 50 hertz frequency. It is standard, no.
Okay, sir.
Yes, we can discuss. So again, those who are here, you have to go to your respective classes to give your assignments, and assignments will be enabled at 10:45. Yeah, if anybody have any more questions, please ask. And please, you have to write your name, roll number, and put your signature in the sheet of paper in which you are writing the answers, and same you have to upload. Don't miss your name, roll number, section, enrollment number, and signature on the sheet. Don't miss out, that are very important to identify. So you have to be online here and you have to go to your team there.
दूसरा फोन आके कट मार दो। कोई जरा उनको बोलो सब, कल मैं उधर आया था जब बीएसएन की तरफ आया था मिलेंगे बोल के। देख संभल के सब काम भी फिर तो जरा देख संभल के। नहीं देखते मैडम को परमिशन है तो मैं अप्लाई करता हूं। वही
I think I see some questions are there. Yuvraj, I think you have posted some question, no? Hello, Yuvraj, are you there? Are you there, Yuvraj? Are you able to see the assignments? 5th A and 5th B section I'm talking about.
No, sir, the previous assignment that has a form in it, that's all that we can see. We can't see the actual assignment right now.
Wait till 10:45.